Alright, good afternoon, everyone. Trust you're having a wonderful afternoon out there. You're welcome to the Your Lead Show, Unicorn Radio International 103.5 FM, and we're so excited today. I hope you're enjoying your wonderful Salah celebration. Yeah, happy Salah to everyone out there who are Muslim brothers and those who are joining our Muslim brothers to also celebrate this season. We want to wish you a very wonderful silent celebration, and we hope that today will bring joy, peace, and peace to the country and life to our economy, because we're in a very, terrible state at this moment, and everything we're celebrating is to see how we can build our leadership, we can build our country, and we can develop the nation where we are now. So congratulations to every Muslim out there and to every celebrant of the season. Yeah, this is your lead show, and today we have a wonderful personality in the house. This is the 001 of the University of Calabar, the SUG president. Yes, and it's a privilege and opportunity to have him in the house this afternoon. Mr. President, before I introduce you again to the people, could you just say hi?
Good afternoon, Malabite and Malabresis.
Yeah, Malabite and Malabresis, can you recognize that voice? I know that voice is very, very familiar to every one of you because he's a workaholic president and president to the people. Yeah, so I have my co-host with me. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Favor Igwe.
Yeah, Favor Igwe. I know that voice is not sounding strange to you because she had been on this show, supporting this show almost on a weekly basis. So we're so happy to have your Favor, and we hope that today's interaction will be super amazing. Yeah, we just finished SUG election a few weeks ago, or should I say few days ago rather, and students are jubilating, people are happy because they are surprised at the outcome. They're like, wow, this is the best we've ever had in over 49 years now. This is the best election UNICAD ever conducted, and it could be credited to somebody, it could be credited to someone. I'm very sure there are people who makes things work. So today we'll be talking on leadership and lasting impact. And we have the president in the house today who is a leader. Our president, and most of you most times are confused of his name. Earlier when I knew him, I was confused. I didn't know how to pronounce the name, and I don't want to, I want to cause a blunder this afternoon. So I will leave him to mention his name. So, Mr. President, once again, could you mention your name to Malabite and Malabresis?
All right. Thank you very so much. Live. My name is Senator Kichi-Akwo, Godsgift, Ukyi-osowo.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and Senator of the Republic of Malabo.
Yes.
Yeah, and our SUG president as well. So we won't waste much of time today because results speaks for itself. And why we brought up this topic today is to actually talk about a lot of things that has to do with leadership and lasting impacts. How can a leader create an impact that will leave even when he leaves the office? Because what we found in our system in Nigeria is that the moment a leader leaves the office, the things he or she had done also leaves with him to wherever he's going to. So how do we leave a remarkable impact in the lives of the people, in the institution, in the society, when you're no more around? So I would leave the rest of the case now to my co-host, who would start the conversation with Mr. President. So Favor, over to you.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So, we know that legacies are either positive or negative. It's very possible that in your years in office or your months in office, you've either made positive impacts that would last, or negative, but howbeit we are trusting that you have been positive. So what do you think you did differently, or at least take a step further in your leadership journey that leaves you in the mind of the people, since we are talking about last year?
All right, thank you very so much, Favor. My name is Godsgift, Ukyi-osowo. By the grace of God, for the past 11 months, I have been selling the ship of over 45,000 students, and it's not been easy. Now, when we talk about leadership, first of all, I want us to understand what leadership is, and then leadership is all about influence. And during my stay in office, or my days in office, I know I was able to influence a lot of things. I was able to influence my students. I was able to influence management to do certain things for students. Although not all of them that I had in my blueprint were that I was able to actualize. But one of the most selling points and legacy that I started was the 1 million naira for the best graduating student. That award was the first in the history of Nigeria, SUG. I was the first person who initiated, the award. And after that, a lot of friends and colleagues from other institutions have called and said, "How did you do it?" And then I've given them, the expo. And that was not my decision solely, but it was a decision of my executives. We came together and then we decided, what should we do differently? And we came up with that. But not just that alone. For infrastructural development, by the grace of God, we will be commissioning 5 projects on Friday. That is our award and investiture ceremony. The OPA bus stop at the main campus, or main gate, was attracted by my administration. The signage at Calabar was also done by my administration. The suggestion lines and boxes within campus was done by my administration. And the sit out at Hall 10 and Hall 11. These are a little project we were able to do. And there are many more that we did. During my time as president, we took students to the first competition of Commonwealth at the University of Lagos. And then we came forth in the whole of Nigeria. So, by the grace of God, I know that those few I was able to do. And the most recent one, I think 2 Sundays ago, we were in partnership with Believers Love World. And then we empowered about 2,000 plus students with funded account to trade Forex. With $1,000 funded account to trade Forex. There are a lot of them. I can go on and go on and go on and go on and go on. But for the meantime, I think I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I think your response was amazing. And indeed, the 1 million naira award was something that stood out. I would attest to that. So are you saying that part of the reasons your administration was able to do something that took a step further to leave your name and that of your executive in the mind of people, is carrying them along your decision making, and making sure that your intentions were to a certain level above normal? You did not just want to be a president like every other president and move forward. Okay, so being that we are talking about continuity here, I'll be asking one question as regards some of the things you've shared, and I think I'll be taking that from the Forex angle.
Okay.
So you had how many students?
About over 2,000 students. With
funded Forex accounts. Understanding what the Forex market is like and what the financial market is like. So what do you think? Because it's very easy that these 2,000 people, if I got you right, are going to blow off those accounts. So yeah, if you just because I don't know what prior training they had before that empowerment, because the idea of empowerment is not just giving people money or funds, it's actually making sure that the mindset is right enough to sustain what has been given.
Of course,
else you have should I say wasted effort. So you've empowered 20,000 people.
2,000.
2,000 people. So let's assume that 10% of these people are supposed. I'm being honest. Not everybody is going to make very good use of that.
Of course.
So let's assume that at least a conversion rate of 10% is supposed to make a living out of this, and would always remember that okay, this administration was God's blessings to me, and this is how it all began. What do you have in place to ensure continuity for these guys? So are you just leaving them to a funded account, or there are structures to allow them be monitored for enhancement and better productivity?
Thank you very much. Thank you for that question. One thing about government, like you said, is continuity. Before you initiate something, you must first of all put modalities on ground to ensure that it lives to the next generation and it goes on. Yes, before we got them funded, we got the account funded, we had a training, I think 3 days training, and then after the training, once the account is being funded, there's a platform that all of you must belong, because there are terms and conditions to this. All of you must belong to that platform, and those monies, those funded accounts, you cannot, withdraw those monies. You must use them for forex. So they were trained. I think most of them are still undergoing training now, and then there is a structure that is on ground to monitor them, because we don't just throw money, because that is about each person has a $1,000. It's so much money to just throw away. So there are structures on ground. Like I said, it was in partnership with Believers Love World, and they make sure that they put in persons who is going to monitor all of these processes to ensure everybody. At least we understand that yes, in a scale of 1 to 10, let's say 4 will do well with those accounts. So we are believing that with the structure that is on ground, we might even have more than what we've presumed to have.
All right, Mr. President, I would want to take us backward a bit, because a lot of students out there, Malabite and Malabraces, we want to understand how you came in the game, so that they'll be able to measure the impact that you've made today. Because in a few days' time, you'll be leaving the office and a female will be coming in. So, what was your manifesto to the students? What did you tell the student that you're going to do in 1 year as an SUG president?
All right, thank you very much. I can remember, once you just mentioned my manifesto, I remembered the day at conference center when I came over to address the student and then to say my manifesto. And then I was greatest Nigerian students, greatest Basa, greatest Biggie, greatest Ekumanku. I didn't know how the Ekumanku word got into my mouth, but I mean, it lived with me, and I'm sure it's going to live after me, because almost everybody is a Ekumanku president. So my manifesto was just 3 cardinal points. I can remember them. I said student welfare, and student welfare has a lot of it has a lot that it entails. There's security welfare. There is physical welfare, there is academic welfare, and transportation also is included in the welfare of students. And by the grace of God, I'm not sure if I want to if I want to measure up with what I had from beginning. I said welfare, security, and social impact. Those were my 3 major points in my manifesto. And for security, by the grace of God, security is not so easy, even in the country we find ourselves. So we've been doing our best for security. By the grace of God, we've contributed our quota for security. And then for social impact, I mean, this administration has had back-to-back events, programs that have kept the students on their toes. I mean, we just finished the best mile walk in the history of Calabar World Cup. They had 32 teams to play the first time in the history of the students. We've tried our best to come up, at least take a bit. We said we're coming to raise the standard. Yes, we're coming to raise the standard. And for the transportation, because it's part of the welfare when I came on board, there was a time when shuttle prices were raised from 15 naira to 100 naira. I came for 2 days with my escorts and then with the support of the students. There was no shuttle for 2 whole days. Then we had to renegotiate the price, because that time was when it was almost the same time our president came on board and he said he has removed subsidy. So the price of fuel went up, and there was indeed a need for a shift in draft, and then we agreed for the current price. And even in collaboration with the chairman of the Student Welfare Board that was appointed by the Vice Chancellor, Professor Patrick Gaga, we've made attempts, to still look at these welfare packages of the students. And even in my administration, during the school fee increment, we also talked about the student welfare, and there's a welfare package that is inclusive in our school fee, that it caters students our students that we lost. The university would give assistance to the parents or the sponsors, and then also accident, if a student is involved in an accident and then the management is aware, would also take charge of the bills from when the student had accident to whenever he or she is feeling well. So a lot of welfare packages that we were able to do at the grace of God. And I can remember there was a point I raised during my manifesto, because I was watching the video some days ago. I said we're going to do Operation Feed Calabar, and then the director of welfare did that at the grace of God, I think 2 or 3 times. And then when we came on board, the very first thing we did was to wash the tanks in the hostel. Those tanks have been long overdue. The last time they washed them, only God knows. We came on board, because even myself, who stays in the hostel, there was a time when I had itches because of the water, and before elections anyway. When I came on board, I ensured that we fast track that program. We washed the tanks. There are a lot of things we did.
Okay, Mr. President, do you think you encountered any challenge before or while you got to the office? Because lots of leaders who have been transited into leadership, they will tell you, we encountered this were the backloads of problems that we faced in the first month of our leadership. So what were those challenges that you encountered, or you met, those things you met that were not really in place?
Okay, thank you. When I came on board, the very first problem we had was trust. Students had lost trust over the years. Student union government, should be told, and I don't want to attribute that to anybody, but when we came on board, we had to face the issue of trust. The challenge, it was a challenge. We needed the student to trust us so that we can be able to deliver the mandate. So we worked so much to rebuild the trust of the students, and then you agree with me that the organogram of the student union government is so vast that funding became also another challenge for us. We had just one major source of income, which was the student union government dues. And if you look at the way we are being structured, we have 9 executives, we have 99 senators, we have 25 judiciary members, we have 33 whole government executives, we have subsidiary unions like the NUCJ, the Man O' War, the Christian Students Fellowship, the Muslim Students, and what have you. And all of these structures is being funded by the same dues we're talking about. So it was a problem to function. You cannot function when there are no finances. I've had offices where we don't have dues, and I know the difficulties we faced. So this one I came on, this very one that they paid dues, but it was not easy to manage. What we had, and then we're beginning to look for alternatives, and the alternative we had from the beginning, we're going out to source for funds. And you believe me, they're sourcing for funds in this current era. It's not easy. We went to Abuja, we went to Port Harcourt, we went to Lagos to source for funds. You can ask my escorts. We stay for like a month in Abuja just to see politicians, to see leaders, to see people who are interested in humanity. But it's difficult. So we came on board, we came back to see if we can have any other alternative. And then talked to ourselves. We consulted a lot of persons and even students and student leaders, and we saw a need, and we saw that, for the past 10 presidents of SUG, only a few have some principal or capital project to show for. That's because of poor funding, and indeed there was a need for something to be done. And then after due consultations, we saw that it was because the union dues has always been used to do projects. But if you check, ASU do not use the union dues to do projects. Even our senior brothers, the postgraduate, do not use their dues to do union projects. Basically, there's no union in Nigeria that uses its dues to do projects. It is only the student union government that uses its dues to do projects. So there was a need for us to initiate the student union government project levy, so that we can be using that. The coming administration will consolidate on that to do projects. So by the grace of God, we were able to initiate that, and then we are paying 1,500. Every student is paying 1,500 for student development dues or levy, as the case may be. So I think that was a solution to that very problem. Though it's not a complete solution, but I think it would save the union for the next years. Thank you.
Amazing. Favor, if you could take over.
Alright, thank you so much, sir. So, a good leader leaves structures that allow the next administration run smoothly. That on its own is legacy and impact. So, what structures have you put in place that will allow the incoming administration run smoothly?
Alright, the Student Welfare Insurance Scheme is a structure that, by the grace of God, as we are handling over documents to the incoming administration, they have to take their time, because I also did. I took my time to read documents. There are a lot of things I also consulted. No, consultation is a continuous process. It does not just end after you emerge. Even while you're in office, you consult, because no man, you agree with me, that no man is an encyclopedia of know-how. Therefore, you must consult for certain things. So the Student Welfare Insurance Scheme is a scheme that has its aim on the students' welfare. So students that have the issues, like I've mentioned before, accident, loss of lives, properties, these structures can help, the current administration to listen to those and give help or aid to the students. The welfare insurance, the Student Union Government Project Levy, is also a structure that will help the incoming administration to build, infrastructures and initiatives that will benefit the students. I had a lot of things to do, but because of finance, I was unable to do most of them. Like the 1 million naira we gave to the best graduating students, we also had in mind that we're going to give scholarship to the best students in each of the faculties across board. But because of poor funding, we're able to do that. But I believe that the next administration, with its positive yearnings and aspirations, will do better than what we've done. And it is my earnest prayers and desire that they live beyond the bars. I mean, I raise the standard. They should take it better than what they have done.
Amazing.
All right, I think that answers my question. So a leader should start where the predecessor stopped. By that I mean, your best project should be the starting point of the next administration. So if you did a 10,000, should I say 1 million worth of something, and it was considered to be amazing, that means you have set the pace for the next person to just start from there and do better. And from all you said, it means that you were able to achieve this in relation to the last government. How were you able to achieve this, and what is your advice to the incoming?
Okay, like I said earlier, consultation. I mean, we have past leaders who had an enviable track record. We have administrative staff that are student friendly. The Dean of Student Affairs was a father. I mean, he's still a father, because at any time we run to him for advice, he always gives us advice, and then when we build on them, we see positive results. And also the Vice Chancellor is a force to reckon with. I mean, she charged us from our inauguration. She was present in inauguration and she delivered a speech. She remembered us of a student union government in Ghana that built a hostel for the students. I mean, when we heard that, we were charged. Particularly, there's a project I was supposed to do with my schools. They were to build a recreational hub, and then we engaged the director of physical planning, showed us the site, gave us a bill of quantity, and that ran into millions. I mean, millions, more than what the SCG dues is. So it wasn't an easy thing. I was discouraged because of the huge amount of money it was. But when I came back and sat down, that was also part of the reason we had to brainstorm to come up with the levy, the project levy. So the next administration, by the grace of God, I'm still available. I'm graduating by August. So for July and August, I'm still here to give them advice and then to give them moral support. Yes. So to ensure that they do well, because it is my prayer that they do well.
All right, thank you, sir. So taking the light out of the results you've gotten or achieved, it's now going to be about you. What has the journey to creating lasting impact been for you? The upsides and maybe downsides if they exist, and what significant change has it should I say wrought as a person?
All right, thank you very so much. I can remember when I was president of Ola Students. Ola is my community, and Ola Students, we have about 2,000 Ola students home and abroad, and that's an association that do not pay dues. When I came on board, myself and my ESCOs went about on courtesy visit to see a lot of persons. And then in 5 months of my stay in office, we were able to do programs worth about 1.3 million for an association that do not pay dues. That was achieved because I maintain a very good working relationship with our elites. And they saw prospect in me, so they decided to, put in so much in that administration. And that office motivated me to go further. When I came to the University of Calabar, I was class rep of my class. Class rep till my 300 level when I contested for president. And at every time, what was my greatest motivation is helping people succeed. Yes, if I see you succeed, I'm happy naturally. I do not drink. My ex will be like, but you never start. You don't be happy. That is how I am. When I see people succeed, I feel happy because I believe that if I see you succeed, you should also be happy when I am succeeding. And then building a very positive energy around me. This office, sincerely, has contributed so much to me. I mean, I can wake up I can wake up even in the middle of the night to attend to interviews on TVs. I was able to build myself within this short period of 11 months. I was able to combat stage fright. I can address over 45,000 Malabites and Malabases. I mean, there are a lot of things. The wide contact network I was able to build within this short time. I met ministers, I met commissioners, I met senators. I even met with the governor of my state, Cross River State, on 2 occasions. We shook hands. This office exposed me to a lot of things. Nightlife. I for the past 11 months, I haven't slept for 5 hours straight because emergencies are always happening in the hostels at night. 12, 1, 2, 3 a.m. is when you always have emergencies at night. So this office have exposed me to a lot of things that are beneficiary, to myself and my immediate constituency. I mean, my friends. I call them my immediate constituency. So, even though we do not have so much material things to ourselves, but the intellectual things we're able to do, what matters a lot. I mean, I can pick my phone and call my House of Rep member, and he picks my call once. Not just because I'm president of SUG, but because you understand that there is something that this person possesses that is beneficiary. This person is a light. So I built mentors, and by default I became a mentor too. So this office has contributed positively to my existence, and then the downfalls or the bad side. This office is the nightlife that the office has exposed me to. I mean, I go out at night and come back very late. I go in the morning and come back very late.
Very late.
I sleep very late, 1 a.m. That's when, if you call me 1 a.m., I'll pick your call. I'm still awake. So, but I think it's not too good for a young person like me. Yes. Because I'm supposed to be at home by 8 a.m. Maybe reading or sleeping. But I always find peace in the night. So it's not so easy. And then one thing too I am grateful for is the friendship I built. I know a lot of persons are saying that the friends I built are friends of the office, but I still have genuine friends. After the elections, I thought my phone would not be ringing as it used to ring, but my phone still rings, even more than the way it rings in the past 10 months. So I believe that I still have genuine friends. I mean, one person I was working with is like my Senate president. He has been a good guy. We've been friends before the office, and even while we're in office, we maintain a very good working relationship. And I can't thank him enough for the moral support.
Well, Mr. President, the day you called the best graduate student to come over for a kind of apathy, I was there, and that was the first time I was actually sitting with you to have conversation. And there are a lot of things you said, and one that struck me was when you said that before now, my other colleagues, they do go out to meet politicians to beg for money, belittling the union, making the union to look foolish in the eyes of those people out there. And you told yourself that this time around, we need to change the narrative by setting a standard. And that really struck me because, when it comes to unionism, a lot of people feel that it could only be those politicians out there that can support and sponsor anything that they could do. But you were able to raise that standard by giving exact amounts. The point where I'm driving at is you were able to give the money you announced, which is the 1 million naira. If it were to be some people, they will announce it, and why giving? They say, oh boy, you have to remit a percentage back to me. So my question is, because you mentioned something about trust, was this an intentional attribute to regain the trust of this student, or it was just something you feel you just have to do? Yeah, okay. We want to find out.
Okay, thank you.
What was the intention behind that?
Thank you very so much. It's been a trend that people make promises and then behind the scene they do different things. Like myself, most times when we attend award nights and then people, when they call you to stage and they say you've been awarded for your best performance or whatsoever you've been awarded for, and it's okay, you have to make a speech, and it's okay. I want to support the students or the association with 500,000, 50,000, and then behind the scene you will give 10,000. No, I felt over 300 or 400 students were seated when you made the pronouncement. So they're already going to hold their president responsible. That okay, this person made a pronouncement of 500,000, and then you're telling us that the person gave you 100,000. It means that you are not being truthful to us. But meanwhile, the person has been very truthful to them. And then, like I said, the student had lost the trust on the union. So we need to put genuine effort to ensure that we regain the trust of the union. Not for ourselves though, but for the sake of continuity of the union. Because if those persons that had been president and other ESCOs had not sustained the union to the time when we came on board. We wouldn't have met the union. So we also have to make genuine effort to sustain the union for those that are coming. So the 1 million naira that we transferred, because we gave him an award, we gave him a check, we gave him an ambassadorial search that he was going to put on by Saturday to come for our event, and then the cash, and also another party. We had a party where we spent so much to do. So if you put it all together, it's even more than 1.5 million that we did. But we transferred the 1 million to him, not because we had so much, but because we needed the union the student to know that yes, the union can work. The union can work. So for it to work, there must be genuine efforts for it to work.
Wow. Amazing. Genuine efforts, because that's just all we need for the society to actually work, like for our institution to really function better. I just want to say this to the other administration coming up, that at least if there is nothing you can pick from the administration you're to take over from, I think there's something tiny you could pick, which is putting up efforts to ensure that the union works. Anything you can do to build the trust of the people, because in the past 2-3 years, they've been war between the students and the student union government. They feel that the student union government is having a pari passu, or should I say collaboration with the management to fight them, from increase of school fee to one thing or the other and all of that. But you've been able to create a link and a standard, which I'm sure that these people coming up, the new administration, would do better. So, what will you do differently if you were to be another SUG president? Because I'm sure, I'm sure there were things that this 11 months has taught you. As today, there's so much you've learned that if I knew, I would have done it as well. So this is to ask you, what were those mistakes that you made in the process, and what will you do differently if you were to be an SUG president?
Thank you very much. Thank you. I love that question. What I will do differently from what I have done, if I'm opportune to be, maybe not an SUG president, but maybe in a public office.
Okay.
Yes, I think one of the things I would do is diplomatic. I will apply diplomatic approaches to whatever thing I want to do. Yes, why I said this? When I came on board, there were a lot of abnormalities, irregularities in the system. My ESCOs and I said, no, this can't happen. And then we launched into a fight. So I believe we don't always fight. Gone are the days when it's always war. I think my mentor told me, Don Clemson, he said it should be Jojo. If you want Jojo, we give you. If you want war, we give you. But I think it is Jojo that wins. You celebrate, I celebrate, for the betterment of all of us. So if I am opportune to be in any elected office tomorrow, I would ensure that what I knew I was unable to do perfectly well was, I know I availed myself. Yes, I stayed in the hostel for 8 months and 2 weeks. Yes, I can remember. When I moved from the hostel was when the reason why I moved from the hostel was because it was the students were being too familiar with me. So disrespect started coming in. That is why I left the hostel. Disrespect started coming in. Because the reason why we are supposed to stay in the hostel is that we can be closer to the students to know their challenges and respond to those emergencies that comes at night. But it was because, and I don't know if it was because of my person. I move freely, I work freely, I don't work with securities. I work even alone on campus. So everybody had access to me. So that was why I left. So there are a lot of things I would do differently. One of the things is, now there is funding. there is more money in the union better than what we came to meet. So there are projects I would do that I wasn't able to do. Project like, instituting the building of a secretariat for the union. I mean, if the next administration can do that, it should be to their credit, where union leaders can have a place to stay comfortably within the student environment. I mean, Malabo, there are a lot of spaces around there where they can build that. We can also initiate projects that will also be beneficial to students, like the recreational hub I was talking about. Yes, if I am president again, with what I have initiated on ground, I will build that. I mean, people want to see you do something before they put in something. You get? After I gave out that 1 million, a lot of person called me, and that's my personal money. I said, yes, you did well for you to want to remove this money and give out. That means I knew the amount of money I received. People that appreciated me.
Share.
People want to see you do something before they key in.
Yeah.
So those are projects that will impact students. Programs like, giving scholarship to students, the best students. It boosts students' morale. It encourages us. We see people go to dance and then go home with millions. Why can't students also that dedicate the midnight to burn candles go home with millions? So these are things I will do when I enter into another office. Maybe not as president, but maybe as a rep, or senate, or maybe governor of Cross River State.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you.
What's in your favor?
Okay, so it's been an amazing time with you so far. And I think the last question I asked was about you. And I did that because I am more of the opinion that leadership is not about gender, but about persons. And the strength of your character is what will determine the level of results you get. So being that the next president, obviously, is a lady. And there are a lot of bias around female leadership. Some people feel a woman should not lead. And some people feel, honestly, in all honesty, there are downside and upside of both genders. It's easier for a lady to function in certain abilities or capacities than a guy when in offices like this. And there are also some things she would find difficult. Like she might, depending on the strength she has built over time, because I don't feel you would get a position like SCG president when you have not built strong emotional resilience. But it's usually not an easy stuff for female leaders. So what would be that word to your successor, person that is taking over your office, looking at the fact that she is not from the same gender as you are? She's a lady. There are certain things there are offices she wants to enter and people might want to, hello, who is this? So what is that advice for her?
Okay, thank you. Our amiable Vice Chancellor is the first female Vice Chancellor of the University of Calabar. And if you want to, talk about female leadership in Nigeria, you will not mention the first 100 that mention our Vice Chancellor. It means she's doing well to encourage the female folks. And now that we have the first female SUG president, she has a responsibility on her shoulders to do well for the female folks looking up to her. So she has a lot of expectations, both from the male folks and the female folks. Because even myself, I expect her to do far better than what I have done.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, so that she will encourage others. Because I am believing that the next SUG election will have male who will contest for vice president.
For vice president, yeah.
Because yes, seeing
That's
that
true.
the president who is a female has done well, so they will also say, okay, let me come as a male to be a support system to maybe our next female SUG president. So I don't believe that women should not have the opportunity to serve, because I am an advocate for gender equality. And I come from a family of 6, we're 4 ladies and we are 2 boys.
Wow.
So, I mean, the ladies are the heads of the family. First, second, and third are ladies. So you must respect them. And that is why I built I had, this support for women. I'm not saying this because a woman succeeded me, but I'm saying this for those that are outside, that are feeling demotivated to come out, to be elected into offices or to do things for themselves. I mean, we have strong women in the world that have done a lot of things. So we should not criticize women from holding offices. Most women even do better than men. Doesn't do better than men. So my advice to her and my word of charge is that she has a lot on her shoulders. So she has to live up to that expectation.
Very true. I think one of the reasons she has to live up to the expectation is because there are tongues waiting to drag her. Honestly, people are waiting so much to see that she will mess up, and they say, yes, that's how women behave. But I really do know that if a person fails in the position of leadership, it's not because the person is a guy or a woman, but because the person does not have the strength of character to stand the office. Now, my final and last question to you, maybe other questions come from life, is it's been a whole journey. I've listened to you for the past 1 hour, and I can peep into what the journey had looked like in the past 11 months of your stay in office. So I'm very sure there has been a shift in perspective on politics and leadership, and I would love you to share that.
Yes, true. It has been a great shift. Yes, when I came on board, before now, when I reach out to a person in an elective office, I call and the person does not pick. I feel very angry. I feel very mad. I said, we elected this person. Why is the person not picking our calls? When the person do not do things, like we had senators who were unable to do things for their senatorial districts. We have local government chairman, councillors. I understand that there are just few offices that if you occupy, that you'll be able to meet up expectations. Those offices are like offices like senators, governors, and even president of Nigeria, and maybe House of Rep. For every other office, I kid you, you would not meet up to 50% expectations of people. Why? Because the moment you're coming on board, you have friends already, you have family. So it is incumbent on you to cater for those persons. Now, it is also incumbent on you to cater for the 101 persons that you have inducted newly by default of the office you're occupying. So it becomes difficult to measure up, to live up to the expectations. So now, I pick every call that comes to my phone, except that now I'm the radio, I've had calls, I can't pick this call. But if I go, I'll return to them, I return the calls. So I pick every call. I understand what leaders in other offices feel, in public offices feel. So my perspective about public office has changed. Therefore, one thing about public office is forgetfulness. You tend to forget the persons that you started together with if those persons are not coming forth.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Okay, so it is not so easy for public officers, and I think people who elect us into public offices should always stand by us, because it is one thing to support somebody to win an election, it is another thing to stand by the person, because you don't know that governance is more hectic than winning elections. Sincerely, I never knew this until I became, the president of SUG, that governance is more hectic than winning elections. You need so much to rule than to win an election. You need maybe just a few percent to win an election, but you need everybody to succeed in your administration.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. President, and I'm so glad that in your stay in office you're able to, differentiate between politics and real leadership, because leadership is inspiring others to do the work, and all of your ESCOs, they've been on the toes, just like the way you've been as well, to ensure that University of Calabar get the best. So my final question before we end the show for today is, considering that the new administration is coming, we're having about 5 females, 4, right? The president, the vice president, the director of information
and the financial
secretary. These are 4 females that will be in leadership. And you know how it used to be, just like you mentioned, it was difficult even as a man to get resources, to get fundings, to get support from people. So what advice in this regard will you give to this administration to raise funds? You already set the standard, and like you mentioned, there is money now in SUG government which they can use to start up the administration. But how do they sustain this so that they can have more to give to the next person that will come up?
All right, thank you. Very quickly, I would say that I think in society, in this current society, women find favor in the eyes of men more than men. Yes, yes, you agree with me, because I mean, I've worked with my vice president and my financial secretary, and there are places, there are offices I don't go, but I don't have access to. But these persons have access to, because they are female. They attract favor naturally.
Wow.
Yes, that's the truth. So I believe that for the fact that they have 4 females, they also attract that natural favor that comes to women. And also, there are a lot of persons we're already in touch with, humanitarian service providers, and I will hand over, everything to them to ensure that these persons help them to sustain the union. Because it is not just about what we have introduced. They should also introduce more to keep the union going.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I really want to say thank you, everyone, for joining this conversation. Do not forget 103.5 FM Calabar International, and this is Julie's show. And we have in the house our able senator and outgoing SCG president, Mr. Godsgift, and my able co-host, Favor Igwe. We would want to see you, want to hear from you this time next week, Tuesday. Thank you for joining. We're looking forward to another wonderful time next week. Bye.